Hey, welcome to Joey's Hi-Fi shop. So in our last video we went over turntables, and I said that the next couple of videos would be about, the amplifier, which I've got here. We're going to talk about today. We'll talk about speakers. As you can see, we have some new speakers in. We got the Rega Nd3s in, and I just got them in today. Got them unboxed a couple of hours ago. They're sounding pretty good. I actually hooked them up to this Rega Nd3 here. And this is the amplifier I want to use to kind of demonstrate and talk about how amplifiers work, because one, it's their entry-level, Rega's entry-level amplifier, and two, it has all the features of their most high-end amplifiers. And to me, what's interesting about Rega, and I talked about this before, is just their simplicity. So if we're looking at this amplifier right here, you can see it has a volume knob, has a power switch, it has a selection switch, then it has a little headphone jack. And on most Rega amplifiers, I think all Rega amplifiers at this point, they all have headphone jacks. The major difference currently between some of their amplifiers, like the one I have back there is called an Illicit MK5, is that their high-end amplifiers and their lower end, their entry level, are going to not have digital inputs on them. So the Illicit and the Elex are going to have digital inputs like that one back there, but these are going to have analog. So let me show you what I mean by that. So if we look at the back of this amplifier, you'll see that we have a phono input, which is where you plug your turntable in, and then it has two extra inputs, and then it has what we call binding posts or speaker outputs. Then there's the power, right? So I've been using this amp for quite some time, as you can tell, because I can just point at the things. But these are really simple devices. So here I'm going to flip it around and kind of leave it over here. I think you should still be able to see it. And what makes this entry-level amplifier so nice is that it really is simple. You plug your turntable in, you maybe plug a streamer or your TV in, and you're good to go. You have some speaker outputs. Bottom's going to be, I think, right, and top is going to be left. Yep. And so you just have your speaker cables come out, and they plug into your speakers. And one of the nice things about this Rega Nd3 amplifier is that it comes with the System 1, which is Rega's entry-level system, Rega Kites, a Rega P1 turntable. And the System 1 comes with the cable. It comes with the speaker cable. You just attach it all and it works. And so talking about amplifiers in the most basic sense is very easy, because you're turning it on. It has a little switch to turn it on and off. It has a little button to go in between inputs. It has a headphone jack, so you can plug in your headphones. I like Grado headphones, Grado, Grado Labs. They make really great headphones, and that's what I like to use. And then you just have a simple volume knob. You'll notice that over here, I have a remote. This is Rega's current remote. And here, I'll leave it up there for a little bit longer. And their remote is real simple, volume, amplifier, and then if you have a CD player of theirs, you can control the CD. But for the most part, just a real simple remote. You're typically just going volume up and down and amp and input and mute. And that's really all there is to using an amplifier. You plug it in, you plug your sources in, and then you hook your speakers up, you turn it on, you select which one you want to listen to, and then you use the volume to control the volume. I mean, that's what's so beautiful about Rega, what I call music-centered hi-fi, is that it really is just about listening to music or playing your movies. We use a PS5 on our projector, so I use a little digital device to hook it up to a DAC, and it goes into the amplifier, and it works great and sounds great. And You can plug any device into these, and they sound amazing. And then for your turntables, they're just the amplifiers from here all the way up to the Elex MK5 are going to come with what they call a moving magnet phono section. And all that means is that it'll take the signal from the cartridge that we talked about the other day, which I have a little surprise for you all in a bit. It takes that and it puts it up to the level of the other two inputs on the back of here, and it makes it ready. So the IO, the Elex, and the Elicit all have moving magnet phono sections. Now once you move up to the Athos and to the Osiris, those are like their reference level, Rega's reference level amplifiers. They actually have all line inputs, and you buy external phono sections for those, and they're high end. They have entry level ones, but they also have very, very high end ones. And so you can go that route too. We have some external phono sections here hooked up. But for the most part, when you're just getting started, all the amplifiers you see that are for sale that have an included phono section typically have a moving magnet. And that's going to be like your planar 1, planar 2, planar 3. They're all going to use a moving magnet cartridge for the most part. Take a little sip of my coffee I got today. Got some good Rega colors going on. Same bean. Y'all tell me what bean to switch to. I'll try it out. So the other question people always have is, how much power, how many watts? In music-centered hi-fi systems, we typically don't talk too much about power. If your systems are built to be together, they will work. So this is the Rega Aya over here. I was just playing it with this Rega Aya. It sounded great. If I wanted to have, more resolution, better timing, I can move up to higher amplifiers, higher end amplifiers, like the Elicit MK5 or an Athos. And what you'll do is it'll just get more and more resolving, and it'll have better pace, rhythm, and timing. But if you hook this up to the Aya, they're gonna work. Obviously, if you hook it up to the Kites, it's gonna work great. In a large room where you really wanna pump up the sound, you will probably want some more power. But power isn't everything. It's the quality and the build and the sound, what I would call music-centered sound signature that these amplifiers have, that are going to give it that relationship with your speakers that you're going to be able to go like, I didn't realize that. I assume this thing puts out 30 to 50 watts. This 30 to 50 watt amplifier would drive these speakers fine, and they do. The Elicit MK5 that I have over there, that puts out 105 watts, I believe, something around there. And it's, it sounds great. Obviously it sounds a lot more resolving than this IO, but it also has increased price, right? It's going to cost more. So, that's what you're paying for. Now on speakers, when we get to speakers, well, it's a little bit more difference in terms of size and the limitations of volume and things like that you want to think about. Sometimes people want really big speakers and they're in an apartment, and it's like, no, you really should just get a pair of bookshelf speakers. You don't need that much volume. But we'll get to that when we get to the speakers. Yeah. But for the amplifiers, really that's what you're looking for. If you're going to go to a hi-fi store like Joey's Hi-Fi Shop, I'll have you come in. I will play any turntable with any amplifier and any set of speakers that we have here, so that you can hear what that sounds like. You can hear those combinations, and it doesn't have to be mystical or some kind of salesy thing where people are saying just buy the best. It's like, listen, what do your ears tell you? Purchase what makes you comfortable, what excites you, and what makes sense to you. For me personally, I understand why each of these are at different price points. I've listened to them. That's my job. That's why I own a hi-fi store. So I've been doing this for, well, I've been listening critically since I was about 12 years old, and I'm 43, so about 31 years. And I've been in the hi-fi industry for about 25 years. And so it's something to me that I've done for a very long time. And I don't expect everybody to be into it that much. I don't expect everybody to necessarily hear all these differences. So when I am showing a customer, showing you a hi-fi, I'm not showing it to you because I think this is what you need, because this is what I like. I want to show it to you, explain to you, like I'm doing right now, the features, the sound, where it fits within the canon of Rega's sound and Rega's range, and within the greater range of hi-fi, of course. You know, I know all the other brands and I've listened to them, so that you feel comfortable and confident making a choice on which hi-fi to get. And so with amplifiers, you can really start with getting a small amplifier, a small set of speakers, and a really nice turntable. And over time, you can upgrade, if you want, you can upgrade your amplifier, you can upgrade your speakers, and your turntable will have enough in it to withstand those upgrades and just make the system sound that much more beautiful, the turntable sound that much more beautiful as it plays. So that's the idea behind a source-first approach, is that you have a turntable, then you have an amp, and then you have speakers. That's why we're going in this order. Now, the speakers, as we'll get to, they play a really large role in how the system sounds and feels, but ultimately, your turntable is what is creating that initial sound, that initial musical, music-centered listening experience. So if you don't have that, you're not going to get it with your speakers. So you want to start with that and always just have some great, snappy musical system. And then you can grow it larger and larger as you go. Or we have a lot of customers that really do buy a System 1 and that's it. Or buy a Rega turntable and hook it up to a Sonos. And that's it. That's as far as you want to go. And I'm fine with that. I want the customers that I help to have fun, be happy, and enjoy their hi-fi and the music they're listening to. And so talking about the amplifier is a pretty short discussion because you really do plug things into it. So what are some things to consider when getting an amplifier? How many things do you need to, it's pretty practical. How many things do you need to plug in? If you are going to be in a larger space and you do want to play at a larger volume and you have speakers that need more watts, yes, that's something we can talk about and discuss and go, okay, like what's the sensitivity of your loud, we can get real nerdy. What's the sensitivity of your loudspeaker? What's the impedance? I can show you mathematically how much a sound output, SPL, sound pressure level, your speakers can create with the amplifier that we're talking about. But for most people, that is not the nerdy route we need to go. It is literally just sitting down, playing it, and making sure it's at a volume you're comfortable with. And also playing your system at low levels and at the higher volumes that you want to listen to it at, and just feeling comfortable with how it sounds at both levels. And again, just like with the turntable, how does it sound over a wide range of components? I mean, of records. How does it sound over a wide range of genres? And when you're getting started, you got to start somewhere. So typically what we do, if you come to Joey's Hi-Fi shop, is that we're going to play the turntable for you first. If you're listening to a whole new set, we're going to play a turntable. We'll swap the turntable out so you can hear the difference between one turntable and another. Then what we'll do is you can say, okay, I like this turntable, or yeah, okay, let's go with this turntable for right now. And then we'll swap the amp out and you can hear the difference between the amp. And then we'll swap the speakers out and you hear the difference between the speakers. And then you can start being able to come up with an opinion and an idea of what you want, the sound that you're going for. Part of getting a hi-fi is admittedly is the journey, right? It's going through, seeing what fits you, what fits your decor, what fits your house and your apartment, and the different spaces, your office that you're putting the system in, so that you can not only have something that you thought sounded great here at Joey's HiFi or at any HiFi store you go to, but sounds great in the setting that you're going to ultimately have it in, because that's what we want. So amplifiers, relatively simple. They got power buttons, you select. They've got volume controls. If you get real nerdy, they can have what they call pre-outputs. You can hook up more amplifiers. You can also have separates where you have a preamp and an amplifier. So the preamp has everything but the speaker outputs. It then has an output that plugs into an amplifier that has speaker outputs on it. I'll show you what I mean. Give me 1 second. Put this over here. I'll stick this remote over here and I'll get some to show you. So because I am a Rega nerd, as I've proclaimed many a times, I do have some vintage Rega gear. And what we have here is a Rega preamp and amplifier. Okay, and get another sip here. So, does Rega make preamplifiers and amplifiers right now? No, they do not. They make integrated amplifiers like I just showed you. Everything in one package. However, very soon, probably this fall or next spring 2025, they will be coming out with a reference preamplifier and amplifier. They showed it at their German audio show this past spring, the prototypes, and so they are working on it. These are 20-year-old Rega preamp and amp. So what does a preamp do, right? So let's talk about it. Again, I just showed you Rega's I/O. So we got a power button here, and we've got a volume button. And what was unique in this time was that you'd actually push the volume button in, and you could select the inputs, which are right here. And on the back, again, you've got a slew of inputs on this, meaning, phono, CD, tuner, line 1, line 2, tape in, tape 2 in, and then preamplifier outputs. So these are the outputs that will then go into an amplifier, right? And this amplifier has, this amplifier is heavy. Okay, it's a high output amplifier, high current, and so it has an input here, which comes from the preamp, and you hook your speakers up over here. I'm actually going to put this down. It's not light. So let me put this back down, stack this back up. Preamp, amp. So we talked about integrated amplifiers. By the way, this Cursa has a remote. And so, back then it was also remote controlled. The previous version, some had remotes, some didn't. But these all have remotes. And again, very, very fun system. So back 20 years ago, for those Rega nerds out there, you would hook up some Rega R9s, these lighter speakers over here, to this system, and it would be this rockin' system. And instead of using a Rega P8 like we have over there, which is one of their high-end turntables, you would use a Rega P9 from back in the day. And there's no P9 currently. There's a P8 and a P10. And so the P9 was their reference turntable back then, and that's the HiFi you would have. So Rega, as you can see, has been around for some time. You all may grow tired of me talking about Rega, but one thing you're going to find is that it's actually very hard to see the Rega line, especially vintage Rega, on the internet. If you look up other videos about a Rega Cursa and a Rega Maya preamp and amp, or even details about a Rega IO or vintage Rega speakers, you're going to find that it's actually hard to find information. So that's why I'm taking this time to share this, even though I'm just talking about amplifiers. I think that over time, the more you get into hi-fi, at least the more I've gotten into hi-fi, I've really appreciated the fact that these are designed and made in-house in the UK. You know, it's just a really, really neat thing. So last but not least, I'm going to scoot these just over here, which was pretty heavy. I've got something to show y'all. So I've got a little opener here. Got this little bag, Ziploc bag, that we're going to open. And what I have in here, I just got. When they shipped me these speakers, they shipped me this. So let's see if we can get one of these pushed ahead of the other. All right, so this is going to be very fun. We're not using this today, but I'm going to actually talk about what we're going to do with it. This here is a Rega Nd3 moving magnet cartridge. This is a cartridge. It's what goes on the end of your turntable for those that are new to hi-fi. And this says lift here, so I'm lifting. But I like to be very, very careful when I lift things. This, I'm going to fold this back so you can see it. I'm actually going to take, it has a little guard on it. I'm going to take the guard off. This is the new Rega Nd3 moving magnet cartridge. It is their latest moving magnet cartridge. Rega's first cartridges were moving magnet. They're known for making very, very good cartridges. And it's interesting because if you get real nerdy about Rega, you'll find that most people are talking about them, comparing them to other things, because Rega is pretty much the standard in cartridges. So if you ever go to forums or you go read online, you're reading reviews, people will often have all these things to say about them. They rarely listen to them. They rarely actually know much about them. They are typically using them to use as a reference to something else that they're doing that has nothing to do with music-centered hi-fi. It has to do with some other thing that they're on. So that can often get confusing if you start looking these up. But I'm really excited about this new cartridge and the series. They're also coming out with an Nd5. So what we're going to do soon, after our speaker video, is we're going to get this cartridge here, and we are going to mount it to the Rega P3 I have behind me, the white turntable over there that we used to demo with. We're going to be dismounting the current cartridge on it, and we're going to be mounting this cartridge. We're going to see how it sounds. I'm going to take you all through the process of mounting a cartridge so that you all can see what that's all about and what that's like. I hope y'all are enjoying these videos. I know they're a little long and a little long-winded, but I just really believe that over time, through the years, people are going to want to be able to look back and know just a little bit more about what the hi-fi was like in 2024, what the hi-fi was like in 2004. And so I'm thinking a little ahead when I make these. That's why they take a little longer. They're not super salesy. They're more supposed to be informative and to let you either become more educated, critique me in the comments, or just, you know, help you have fun on your journey to figuring out the equipment to listen to your music with. Because again, at the end of the day, this is about playing music and listening to records and having fun. And so this part to me is really why I'm doing it at the beginning, because this is like the nuts and bolts of putting a hi-fi together. But ultimately, what I hope my customers do is they come in, they have a set budget at the time, we figure out a system for them to listen to. They purchase it or purchase it over time, because it's not, you know, this isn't something you always buy all at once. And you enjoy music, and you're messaging me, or I'm seeing you on Instagram with all the music you're playing. And that to me is like what's fun. And yes, if you come back and you want to upgrade, great. But I also have customers that, you know, because I've been selling HiFi for 25 years, they have the same HiFi from 25 years ago. And I don't need them to come and upgrade. I want them to be enjoying, if they're enjoying their system, enjoy your system. I'm not here to just keep piling things on. There will always be people interested in something that's ephemeral, something that gives you a physical experience, something that isn't AI enabled necessarily, right? That isn't, I have a PhD in media studies. I look at social and cultural practice a lot. And one of the things I see more and more often as we get more and more high tech is people wanting to go back. And I really do see this as a time, these components and records, as a time of being this in-between space where we can sit, put some music on, and just be and exist with it and play it. So a little philosophical there, a little existential, but I hope you enjoyed it. Y'all have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for coming and watching my videos.